Welcome back. Well, England's provisional roster ahead of this summer's Euros dropped yesterday. Here's how it looks. Lots of familiar names on here. Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, Trent is on the list there. But I think this is the talking point regarding this provisional roster are the names that are not included on this roster. And Marcus Rashford probably being the most glaring omission from Gareth Southgate. He spoke yesterday about that, and he just basically said that there are other players in that position who have had stronger seasons, which seems entirely fair to me, Charlie. But what did you make of the omission of Marcus Rashford?
I think it's just telling of where he is under Ten Hag at Manchester United. I mean, it's almost unrecognizable compared to where he was the season before. You felt that Marcus Rashford needed to take his game to the next level. And there had been all this conversation around, hey, is Marcus Rashford going to stay at Manchester United or is he going to go abroad? Is he going to make the move? I know PSG were heavily linked to his name, but he has really stumbled under Erik Ten Hag. And so, yeah, I mean, you could put it on himself and not producing, but either way, he's not in a rhythm. The confidence is gone. He's had some fitness issues.
Can we blame Ten Hag, though? Because he was his manager the season before when he did incredibly well. So is this,
I mean,
are we pointing fingers at the manager?
I mean, for me, it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't put all the blame on the player or all the blame on Erik Ten Hag. But as a manager, you are trying to get the most out of your most talented players. And Marcus Rashford is, without a doubt, one of Manchester United's best players, best attacking players.
He should be their best threat.
So with that being said, I know there was a lot of arguments on where is he going to be positioned on the pitch. Where does he want to be played on the pitch, and where does Erik Ten Hag want him on the pitch or need him on the pitch with this Manchester United side? And it never felt like they were on the same page.
I think when asked about it, Gareth Southgate said in particular that he was out of form and out of fitness. Which I thought was telling. When he was asked about Jordan Henderson, another player that people thought, because he'd been trusted for so long by Gareth Southgate, that he would be called up to this camp, and he wasn't. He said that he didn't have the fitness to be in it. He didn't have the intensity because of what the season he had. But then he brings in Luke Shaw and John Stones.
But
he called Luke Shaw a long shot to get on the team.
This is a provisional. The thing is that he does. How many other left backs does he have here? And for the sake of training, the 33 men on this squad need to be dwindled down to 26. Luke Shaw's probably going to be one of them. I think it's very telling that Marcus Rashford couldn't even make a 33-man provisional squad.
Yeah. And also, I don't know who you take out to put him in, but I thought Jadon Sancho is about. You've got two Brits that are about to play in the Champions League final. Obviously, Jude Bellingham is in. I thought at least towards the end of his season especially in Champions League, towards the end of his season with Dortmund, and the loan in Dortmund, that he kind of played himself.
Who would you take out, though?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know who you take out in the midfield. But if you got two defenders that haven't played in the second half of the season, I mean, you got some room.
Similarly, funny enough, you mentioned the Champions League final. I'm crossing off. I'm trying to make my 26-man roster as we're having this conversation. I've already crossed off James Trafford, Jared Brightwhite, Gerald Kwanzaa. There's enough center backs. Adam Wharton, cross him off. So I need 3 more. But similarly to your point, you mentioned the Champions League final. Mats Hummels didn't get called up to Germany. He's been arguably. He was the best player in both legs of the semifinal against PSG, arguably Dortmund's best player in the knockout stage.
Different situation, he's a little older.
For sure, but it's still shocking that he's not on the list. Speaking of deserving a call-up, I think Mats Hummels deserves a call-up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna compare him and Sancho, who deserves it more, but it's specifically talking about the England national team.
Yeah.
It's a little bit confusing to bring in 2 defenders that are specifically out of form and out of fitness when that's the excuse you use for Marcus Rashford.
It's just crazy. I mean, this is the Marcus Rashford that featured for them in the World Cup and did so well. And it's for him to be on the outside looking in for the Euros, just I didn't see this coming at all.
Did you catch the detail about this list?
No.
Trent Alexander-Arnold is listed as a midfielder.
Yeah, that's pretty consistent with what he wants out of him, though.
Yeah, it's funny because he's a right back, right? And he's been used as midfield before, but it's just it's funny that nominally. That's how he's listed.
I'm going to do this for our wonderful producer, Jen Calhoun, who is a big Bournemouth fan. Dominic Solanke not included on this list, who was the third highest goal scorer in the Premier League this year. Do you think that he deserves to be included?
I don't.
What does he have to do? What's a guy got to do?
I'm sorry,
Offer up
Jen.
something different than these other forwards.
Ivan Toney?
I don't. I think when you look at what he brings to the table, his best quality is his work rate, and you know, if you're looking at quality finishers, he's not dynamic enough for me to be on this list.
I tried Jen.
And Jen, our producer, a massive Bournemouth fan, and you know, 19 goals is incredible.
He was
in
sensational.
the Premier League. Yes.
Yeah.
He really did well for Bournemouth, being someone who could, you know, get into the right gaps and the right timing of his runs, and made fantastic runs in the box. But given that, he's not more beneficial to this English
that's
side
fair.
with all
And you know, Harry Kane is obviously your
Kane.
number one up there. Your other options should give you a bit of a change of pace, and I don't think that Dominic Solanke does much more than Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins in that category.
fair.
Those two seem almost like shoo-ins.
And Ollie Watkins, Ollie Watkins is my number 2. But does Harry Kane ever come off?
No.
So how do you work
a
Ollie
little
Watkins
injured right now,
double
actually.
striker?
Yeah.
He's a little injured right now,
But
so maybe he doesn't come
You
on.
know, I think what all great managers do is find moments to take off Harry Kane, to rest him when you can, because you know, as the competition moves forward, you want to have a fresh Harry Kane. So that's where Ollie Watkins comes into play. Solanke just wouldn't get any playing time, and it doesn't make sense to put him in a squad like that.
This squad, I mean, look at the likes of Declan Rice together with Jude Bellingham, Bukayo Saka, and Phil Foden.
So what are your expectations for this England squad based on the guys here?
They have the tools to win.
Yeah.
They just need to be able to put it together. And we've seen in the past, if it goes to penalties, it's not a. It's almost a shoe.
you just look at how they're set up, and Gareth Southgate doesn't want to play like Pep Guardiola. But if you're looking at this group, the technical players, the difference makers, and the youth. I mean, it's not like these guys are all 30 plus and don't have the legs. These guys all have the legs.
They're fresh.
What an incredible team. So to put Declan Rice in with Phil Foden.
Set up the midfield for me.
So you have Declan Rice as your lone 6, okay? You have Jude Bellingham, and then you have Phil Foden.
Jesus.
Bukayo Saka, because they can play together. Harry Kane up top as the lone 9.
Left winger. Like a Madison, Grealish, Jared Bowen.
It'd be Grealish.
Or Cole Palmer, who's killing
Cole
it.
Palmer is killing it.
You've got to find a way, I think, to get Trent Alexander-Arnold and Cole Palmer on that field.
And
somehow.
I think the safety blanket that he has is Kyle Walker, because you can play with that because of his pace. He's just so important to Manchester City. So, it's just an incredible team. The depth that they have. But
It's a pretty
Declan Rice
stacked England squad.
It's a very attacking team, which we haven't always seen from him. He tends to go pretty safe when it comes to knockout competition.
You got to attack with this group. This group is a possession group as well.
This
And,
group is going to blow you out.
7 names.
Okay.
Luke Shaw does make my final roster.
Okay.
I thought I was going to have to take him off.
We'll soon see if Gareth Southgate agrees with you.